everyone. Welcome to another episode of Moments with Nyengeterai. I'm so excited today because I have a really nice young lady who I'm going to be talking to who has some exciting stories. So as you know, Moments is it's a very safe very safe space where we just talk about everything, anything to do with life, projects, but the idea being that we all have a story and there are lessons to be learned from those stories. And when we speak about them, when we talk about them, then people really get to understand, and maybe we're able to help someone out there who's stuck. So anyway, before going any further, I would like to say welcome, Chrystal. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out to come and spend the afternoon with me and over a glass of wine. So before we go any further into the interview, just talk a bit about yourself. Who's Chrystal? What do you do? What do you love?
Well, yeah, thank you for allowing me to be part of this beautiful show. Love the space. I think I mentioned it. It's so pretty. Yeah, so I'm Chrystal. Originally, you know what? It's Chrystal, but
Really?
yeah, but it's a long story. But I've just grown to just Chrystal sounds better. But yeah, Chrystal. So I'm Chrystal Bonzo, and I am. Can I say my age?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we're free to talk about age.
Yeah, so I am 26, turning 27 in about a couple of days.
Wow.
Yeah, and I identify as a public health practitioner. That's my line of work. I'm an only child, but I'm not spoiled.
I was about to say, only kids are very, very spoiled.
Only child, but not spoiled. I consider myself to be very introverted. Yeah. But when it comes time for me to rise up to the occasion, I do take up space.
Really?
But naturally introverted. I love dogs. I've got 2 dogs. I'm a dog mom. Yeah. Love reading, biographies, especially from Black women. For some reason, I just like reading stories about Black women in a positive light. It inspires me. It captivates me. Love flowers too.
Oh, wow.
At one point, I used to have a functional flower business.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I love flowers. Tulips, to be precise. I'm a girly girl, like love wine, just like you.
Oh, I love wine.
Yeah. But yeah, on the surface, I think I'd like to consider myself like a very grounded person, family oriented. Love family comes first, and loyal to those who love me. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Geez, there's so much there that I want to unpack. So first of all, health practitioner. Why do you call yourself a health practitioner? What is it that you have done? I mean, you're only 26, I mean, you're almost half my age.
Yeah,
So you're old enough to be my daughter. But yeah, don't call me mom. But anyway, just talk to me about a health practitioner. Why a health practitioner?
So funny enough, growing up, I wanted to be an air hostess.
Okay.
Yeah, they just looked really like all put together. And back then I would always talk about it. And my dad, he's late now, he was like, why air hostess? Why not be a pilot? Why not be the one? I was like, yeah, sounds cool. Because they also look well put together. But that dream didn't last too long. I think it was his dream for me.
For you, yeah.
It didn't last long. And then I got into wanting to be a lawyer. I got into wanting to be a forensic pathologist because I watched a lot of like crime shows and I read a lot of mystery books. I was like, and in my understanding, it was better to just deal with a dead body than have the responsibility of someone's life. So you can say that's when my interest for health kicked in. And then I went to University of Cape Town.
Oh, wow. I went to UCT as well.
Oh, nice.
But many years ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I majored in gender studies, politics, and history. And that was a really weird selection. But it's what interested me. And at that point, I didn't know what I wanted to become. I was like, okay, let me just come here, get a degree, and make people happy and find my next step. So happens after I graduated, I came back to Zim. Looking for a job was challenging. And by the grace of God, I managed to get one in a local organization. And because I was in Cape Town, Cape Town is very free, open-minded, like it's like a little Europe. So there was this portfolio on reproductive health that no one seemed to be interested in taking up. So I was like, okay, I'm a bit of a liberal. Let me take this up. You know how it is in Zim, talking about sex, reproductive health. It's like, it's not easy,
I know.
So that's how I got into it. So I started off in the reproductive space, and then I'm like, oh, this is interesting, because then it was intersecting with like laws, policies, climate change, even. Like, it's such a beautiful space. And that's how I started, and I realized, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I call myself a public health practitioner because my work intersects. So I work with young girls, teaching them about menstrual health, hygiene. Then on the other end, I'm also like an advocate for HIV and AIDS, involvement of young people so that they have access to HIV prevention methods, access to information. And then I'm also working within the public health space, but more on the digital communication about how are we communicating public health issues to the general public, to young people? Are we speaking their language? Are they understanding? So that's why I call myself a practitioner, because I'm in these different spaces, but still within the health space.
Wow, this is very interesting. And I just want to unpack. I mean, like, geez, there's quite a lot that's coming out. I mean, considering that you're like only 26, about to turn 27, and you've managed to kind of like find your space. With some people, it takes them years to find their space. What do you think really drove you, or what helped you to really understand that this is what I want to do? Because you said when you went to UCT, you were not quite sure what you wanted to study. Yeah, I have a story for another day for that same thing. I went to UCT and I was like, a bit confused. So
yeah, I think I'm a self-aware person. I think introverted people tend to be a bit more self-aware about themselves. And for me, compassion is one of my cores. And being in the health space, it sort of like elaborates that. Just being able to provide, whether it's like basic information that's life-changing to someone, whether it's offering someone services that are life-changing. So for me, that compassion, I just knew like this is where I want to be. No need to be gangster. And I found that in me working in public health, I feel like I'm being purposeful. Because one of the things I believe in is like, we are here on earth to fulfill a certain purpose. And my purpose has been of being of service. And I always say that I'm a Christian background. Like, God didn't give you an extra day on earth today because, you deserved it. He gave you so that you could help someone else's life become better. Make a difference. So that's just what guides me. And so far I've been flourishing in it, I think.
wow, geez. Okay, I'm gonna keep going back to your age because I'm thinking to myself at 26, all I was thinking about was how fast can I rise up the corporate ladder, and but the funny thing is, it was only later on. I've always liked to help people and talk to people, but it's literally through my job as a marketer. And when we started doing a lot of personal branding at work, because then I was forced to do, they pushed a lot because it was a multinational, about personal branding. Then I started to become more self-aware, and in doing that, I wanted to teach and to help people, and that's how I then found my calling in terms of to serve other people. Then I'm a Rotarian. We say I'm a Christian, but I'm a Rotarian over. And with Rotary, we say we believe in service above self. So that has become kind of like my motto every single day. And I'm listening to you. You're 26. You're talking about service above self, making a difference in people's lives, and it's so exciting that we have such young people coming up with those things, doing those kind of work. The future looks bright. Then I'm really excited. And talking about working with young kids, working with younger kids and menstrual health. What do you do exactly that everybody else is not doing? Because I think, how a friend of mine said to me, because she only has boys, and I was saying I'm very keen on working with young women and older women. And then she said, but who's taking care of our boys. And I said, I think there's enough stuff happening for boys. But she was like, oh, but there's a lot happening for women as well. So I want to understand what's the difference with what you're doing, especially for menstrual health.
In menstrual health.
Yeah.
I think what's different from my story, I always told this to people, and sometimes I used to feel ashamed because the idea of being of service is usually associated with like, or you have a similar background, or you've encountered something like that, or you know someone like that. Like, I don't want to call it a sad story narrative, but like I stand in front of people and I say, I don't have a sad story to tell. I can't stand and lie in form of sad story. Say, oh no, I had period poverty, because I didn't, fortunately. But for me, I think what's different is just that authenticity that comes, like, I don't have the same experiences with you, but I can understand your experiences. And I'm going to use I'm going to use my privilege. I'm going to use my resources to at least make you, be a better person, or feel like there's hope in life. So for me, that's what I think makes me a bit different, because I'm honest about where I come from. I'm honest about why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I've realized that I have the capacity to, and at the same time, making a difference. So my work is in three ways. So advocating for the dismantling of taboo stigmas that are associated with menstrual health. I know it's 2023, we have all this tech happening, but talking about menstruation in public is still shunned.
It is actually, and even for young girls, for a young girl to actually, to either spoil themselves or to want to talk to a man or something like that, it's still which we need to dismantle that, definitely,
because it's a natural process. Like it happens, so there's the advocacy part of it, just trying to have more conversations, normalizing the conversations. You know what, this is normal, let's talk about it. And then the second part of it is the empowerment part, where we're actually training girls on how to make their own reusable pads. And I think for me this is the most beautiful, because not only are they learning on how to make their own pads, they're learning about the different materials to use, and they're also learning how to sew, because by hand. So it's also like preparing them for using those skills to sew other things in life as well. And then the third part is about self-acceptance, because when you talk about menstruation, because of how it's so stigmatized, it's so easy for women to hate that part of themselves, and it's so easy for women to then hate it and then put themselves in a corner and say, you know what, I'm the only one dealing with this. Even like painful periods, look, people don't talk about that.
They don't, and it's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
I went through. I had really painful periods. I literally always tell like my daughters that it's funny how when I used to be told when I was younger that as soon as you have a baby, things will change.
They'll get better.
And okay, I'm not saying people must rush and go and have children when the time is right. So after I had my first daughter, literally it's like when I then went on my period after that, it was like, wow, okay, nothing. Literally, I actually spoiled myself, I remember.
Yeah.
Because it just started and I went to the bathroom and I was like, oh, when did this happen? Because I was so used to whenever I was going on that the week before, or in fact, a week before, things would just start. And then the day before, oh my gosh, the day,
something else.
like I would be vomiting, temperature, everything. And my mom then, the older generation didn't really quite understand. And they'd be like, no, exactly, just get on with it. You're a woman.
You're a woman, toughen up.
So that's...
No one is supposed to know,
Exactly. So what you're saying for me is like, I think it's so important that you're doing that. And I just want to understand are you working with a certain age group? Are you working in a certain area? What are you doing?
So age group wise, we're only working with like 12 to like 18-year-olds. And the reason for this is when we get to the sewing part, it becomes a bit difficult to sort of like try teach like younger kids how to handle needle thread, also the safety issues around it. So we try to work with like older girls, because I think they're a bit more mature and it makes the process easier. And then in terms of like our geographical reach, so far we've only done work in Norton, Hatcliffe, Epworth, and Beatrice. So we're just a year old. We turned a year in March.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So one of the goals this year is to sort of like expand like our geographical reach and go out there.
Okay. So do you kind of like do a continuous thing, or it's just once and you drop once, or you go and teach once, or is it kind of like continuous? How does it work?
So for now, because our funding hasn't been consistent, so we do what we can. So we look for schools, we approach the schools, this is what we want to do. Then if they want us to be part of that program, we go to the school, we train, we do that activity, look for the next school, we train. So it's like a continuous thing, but doing it at different places.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Explain to me the reusable pad.
Reusable pad. It's amazing. It is amazing. So basically, a reusable pad is a pad that you can wear and use it, then wash it, store it, and then the next time you have a period, take it out again, use it. It's great for low-income households because COVID happened, and we're actually talking about it with Sepo outside, that when COVID happened, a lot of people lost their jobs, income, and it even increased period poverty because how can you explain to your mom, to your dad, like, oh, can I have money to go buy pads?
When there's no money for
when
bread.
there's no money for bread. You know what I'm saying?
So it sort of like saves that financial burden because you can use it, if used correctly, you can use it for like 6 months to a year if used correctly. So it saves you. So if you're on your period and you're budgeting like $2 a month for pads, like that's like a lot of money saved that could go and channel other things. So apart from that, you don't react because you're using like we use 3 different type of materials. So we've got cotton, we've got polycotton, polyester, and t-shirt material. So when you wash your pad, you have the option to like hang it dry completely, or you can actually iron it, and that just kills a lot of bacteria. So those things don't allow you to like react, as opposed to if you use like plastics, there's a lot of chemicals and things of that sort. And it's very comfortable too. No squishy
When you're walking, because it's
highly absorbent. So that is a reusable pad in a nutshell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really, really exciting. And I'm so excited that we have young people looking at these kind of projects. So you spoke about 3 areas. So it was the menstrual health.
Yeah.
Then the other thing that really interested me was the communication aspect, because I'm in
You're in
marketing
comms.
and in comms.
Yeah.
Talk to me about comms and what you're doing, what you think should be done differently.
Okay. So this actually started during COVID because from a community-based organization that I was working for, like we had to find ways to communicate with people without gathering them because it was during COVID. And one of the ways that about, okay, the social media space is growing, but even if it's still growing, like the messaging around it, you know, for example, we have so many HIV campaigns going on in the country, and even though it's 2023, we still have some campaigns that say don't have sex. So already you're putting a limit, and we all know that young people are engaging in sexual activity, but it's about how you frame the message so that someone is able to understand, and if they decide to do have sex, they know that okay, this is what I need to do. They're well informed so that they're not in situations that are irreversible. So that's how it started, like the languaging, because young people understand things differently than older generations, and especially with Zimbabwe still having high HIV prevalence, it was about how can we communicate in ways that young people can understand, can take the message as positive and not as
don't do it.
Don't
stay
do
away
it.
from
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
Because
yeah.
people are just
always going to be experimental, So that's how it started. That's how I got into the digital comms. So we did a couple of episodes as well, like this. Podcast too, where we're just like information sharing and making it relatable to young people. Because the thing about communication is there's a lot of misinformation that can also be spread online. So for us, it was like we communicate and then we offer like the referral service of where you can actually get the services that you're seeking at that time. So that's how I got into the digital space, and it's very exciting, very dynamic, allows you to be creative. Yeah. So that's it in a nutshell.
Wow. So anyway, just looking at your life and 26, and you still have a lifetime ahead of you. What are the lessons that you have learned? I mean, let's start with going to uni and doing a degree that you were like, okay, I'm just doing a degree. how did you manage to even convince your parents? And then once you did that degree, what then made you say, okay, I know I've done this, but I'm gonna try this and I'm gonna try this? Because I think it's so important now, and I'm talking to the younger people, that they are given that opportunity. But I think some people in their minds, they're already thinking, I've done this, let me just work in that line, or I've done this, I'm going to uni, let me just do this. I mean, what is it that allowed you to kind of like explore? I think I'll put it like explore. Yeah.
Explore.
Yeah.
So I think in my uni experience, to be honest, my mom is gonna watch this. I didn't, like, UCT was not on my radar. I did not imagine that I would study in SA. Only child syndrome. Like what I want, what I get. But it unfortunately didn't work out for me like that. So my mom is the one who actually pushed the UCT agenda. So it was one of those, yeah, she actually applied for me.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay.
That's just how I wanted my way,
The only child. So I found myself at UCT against my own, dreams and wishes. But I was like, okay, Chrystal, you're here now. So you might as well just make the most out of it, And I think that's how I got through uni, just accepting that this is what's there. And it was such a beautiful time.
Oh, Cape Town is beautiful. It's amazing.
It's a vibe.
It's really
But I think one of the biggest lessons I learned there is where you start doesn't matter. Because I think as young people, we have this idea of what we want our life to look at. We feel like if it doesn't tick box A, then we're not going to get to B, C, D, And it really taught me, like, whatever life throws at you, take the opportunity and make the best out of it. Because it's going to take you to the next stage. It might not go the way you planned it, but what you just need to do is just to show up and do the work. And I did show up. I think I did the work. And when I came back, I had no clue what I was going to do. And I think that's when I started to explore.
How did that feel like? Coming back and like, okay, I've got this degree, I'm holding. And I think there are a lot of young people out there who are like holding these papers and they're like, I can't find a job.
Yeah.
Mine was even worse because I have a UCT degree. Number one in Africa. You're like, I'm the girl. So the expectation is if I go back home, people are going to be, wanting me because of my accreditation to UCT. But it wasn't like that, unfortunately. And I remember getting into a depressive state. Again, expectation doesn't meet reality because I was like, I'm from UCT. I should be easily to get a job. I'm exposed. But it wasn't like, I think I was unemployed for like a year. And then my mom was like, you need to do something with your life. That's when I started to explore, like, how best can I make the best out of this situation again? So that's how I started my fruit. It was like fruit and flower business. I was making baskets, hampers, and just, trying it, just trying it out. And then I did that. I remember I also worked at an insurance. I was selling insurance. Yeah. But that was probably like the worst experience of then coming back because I realized quickly that, this is not for me. But being in that season taught me that sometimes you have to go for what you want aggressively. Because I could imagine, like, this is probably how many people get trapped. Where your first job, where you start out, you think, okay, now I need to work up the ranks. But you're not really, being purposeful. And so it pushed me. That experience pushed me to be more aggressive about what I want. I remember being proactive. I missed work. Don't miss work. I missed work because I had printed out my CVs and I'd done my research of a list of nonprofits that I wanted to work for. Like, I knew the manager. So I spent the day, I didn't go to work, I spent the day going to those nonprofits, going to the reception and saying, I'm here to see Mr. X, And then Mr. X obviously is not expecting, like, oh, I'm Chrystal, here's my CV, I want a job. I think for me, that hunger is what pushed me out because I was like, no, I cannot work in insurance. I don't like it. And funny enough, no one wanted me.
After going to each office.
Yeah, like I had a list. No one wanted me.
Until I got to the last place I visited, this lady, bless her soul, she was like, I like your tenacity. I like your drive, but I don't have a job for you. So what I can do for you is give me your CV. Let's work on it. And she was like, I have a meeting in 5 minutes, but I'm going to give you 5 minutes of my time.
Wow.
So at that point, I was like,
She won't pay my
I just want a job.
just want a job.
You know?
so she held me like 5 minutes. She's like, no, CV, remove this, remove this. She was so quick about it. She's like, go home, redo your CV, send it back to me and the cover letter, and I'll review it, and then we'll start from there. And I did that. And then she's like, okay, now it looks good. Now go apply for a job. But I wasn't understanding, like, but
Why? I want a job. Why are you making me? Yeah.
You know?
so I was a bit disappointed. And funny enough, the first ad that came, I used that same CV template and the cover letter.
You did with her.
Yeah, and I got the job. So for me, it was like a lesson that, like if something is not for you, be quick to realize about it, but make a plan. And I think young people just need to be aggressive about their goals, like being a hothead.
You know,
And going for what you
and
want.
going for what you want, because
No one is going to come and do it for you, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I think the onus is on us as young people to be, achievers of our destiny. So those are some of the lessons after UCT that I quickly learned on.
That you quickly learned.
Yeah.
And now from that and like starting all these things that you have started and starting the flower business and everything, what are your lessons from, especially, let's start on the business side.
Yeah,
Let's
business
go to the
side.
business side.
So I'm a
Perfectionist.
I think
You know that they always say, I am a perfectionist, but I'm also a procrastinator because of that as well.
It's
Because
a thing.
when it's not perfect, I don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it.
And I'll keep wanting to fix it and fix it and fix it.
until you don't do it.
That's me in a nutshell. That's me. So business, I mean, I was just trying it out. I started the business with $20 from my mom. And I just went on Canva, put a nice little poster. So I did it during Mother's Day because a cousin of mine wanted a fruit basket. She was like, no, go to the local shops, get me a fruit basket. But then I went there. I was like, but these are not looking enticing. Like, I wouldn't want to receive this. It's like, you know what? I'll make you a fruit basket, but you'll pay me. And that's just how it started.
Wow.
So I got so many orders that day. I was like, wow, this is a thing. That's how I started. But what I learned from that business is I'm a perfectionist, and it's okay to be a perfectionist, but it's also okay to ask for help. Because now, because I'm a perfectionist, pressure from work, trying to balance life, social, other things as well, I would make a basket, but to me, it wouldn't tick all the boxes. I'd be so disappointed in my work. But I would give someone and they'll be so happy. So that self-fulfillment wasn't in me again. Yeah. So that was one of the lessons that I like, okay, like ask for help. If you're overwhelmed, partner with someone, get some help. They can do the fruits, you can do the flowers, and then make it all together. That way you still have an appreciation of your effort in the whole thing. So that was my business lesson there. That like, I'm a perfectionist. It's okay to ask for help. And collaboration is always key. Yeah.
What made you stop though? Like, what made you stop
That
the business?
thing of
Creating something and you're not happy with it. But someone else is happy with it. But the fact that I wasn't happy with it. So for me, it was like, okay, I've been doing so well. This was before I got a job. Like, I've been doing so well. I don't want to put my reputation on the line to say, the service is now degraded and all of that, because I still feel like it's something I probably want to get into later on. So I'm like, let me stop whilst I still have a good name and re-strategize, realize where I need to work on my strengths and start again. That's why I stopped. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really, like, for me, I think that's really powerful, not just for young people, I think even for older people, just to say, you rethink, re-strategize, and if things are not working, move out. And also just, I think being able to just be self-aware and to realize that you're a perfectionist and work on that, because I know
firsthand.
I know firsthand. Overthinker, perfectionist, procrastinator. I know. So I've now had to work, and that's why I'm so much into personal development, because the only way I've been able to grow and to get better is just by doing the personal development courses, getting a coach, and all those kind of things. So yeah, those things are kind of like, they're really, really important. So before we close off, I just want to ask a few fun facts, although you've told me part of it already.
Okay.
Like
You can still make
animals.
this fun.
I'm going to ask you again, but I know you've already told me what your favorite animal is. I know you said you love dogs. I don't know. Tell me why you love dogs. I know, I think you're the fourth person who I've interviewed who loves dogs. I don't love dogs. So I don't understand it. So maybe you can give me your views on
Views.
Dogs are loyal. A dog will love you.
how do you know a dog is loyal? How do you
Let
know
me
your
give
dog
you
is
an example.
Yeah.
Every time you come back home, your dog is excited to see you. It wiggles, it jumps, it's just all over the like it's so excited, like you're back. I'm so excited to see you. Like just think about this is just a dog and it's doing this and it just makes you feel so special. Like it has seen other people throughout the day, but the fact that it has seen you, it can obviously communicate, but you can see the actions. So dogs are loyal. They will love you at your lowest. They will love you at your highest. They will love you without anything. They will love you with everything. Dogs are loyal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for me, that's why I like dogs. And I don't know. It's you just need a dog to understand why dogs are good.
Okay,
Like,
I'll
just try
try.
it out.
My kids have been trying to convince me to get dogs,
No,
but
I think you should.
I don't know. Maybe when they've all gone. Maybe I'll be lonely. But I was laughing. I had a funny picture when you're talking about
Yeah.
when I come back from work. They're happy. They wiggle. I
Yeah.
just thought of my daughters when they were very young.
Yeah.
Every time I came back from work and I'd open the door, they would literally scream. Whatever they were doing, they'd stop. You know.
Yeah. And imagine how that made you feel.
I know how
Yeah.
I know they're gonna kill me. That I'm like using dog analogy,
But
but
do
yeah,
that.
no,
Yeah.
I kind of like understood when you say that. Okay, that's fine. What's your favorite color and why?
Red.
Why red?
It's beautiful. I think it's a new thing, the red thing. Like what we're talking before. Like growing up, red it just has a lot of negative connotations. But surprisingly, I just realized like it looks so nice on me. So every time I'm in red, I feel so confident. I feel so powerful. I feel so feminine. I feel like I can do anything. You know what I'm saying? And it's such a I don't want to say bossy color, but I think it's in between boss and like I'm a lady, like and I like feeling girly and all that. So red is
My
No, I get red. I get you. And when you were saying, that's why I was smiling because I was like, when I wear red, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Because my favorite colors are like red and yellow, and red for the longest time and yellow, because red it's just so bold like
Yeah,
that,
it's
and
very
yellow is sunny and happy. So yeah, the two of them. So I get you with the red. Okay, so if right now if I were to ask you like, let's pick our bags and go somewhere, where would we be going?
Morocco.
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 Wow, why Morocco?
I think it's beautiful.
for some reason, I just think it's beautiful. I think they also have a really diverse culture up there, up north. I think also the food. The
I was
food.
about to say,
I'm
yeah.
a foodie.
I'm a foodie as well.
Yeah.
And when you said Morocco, we've talked about Morocco with my daughters. We'll be like, oh, it's be one of the countries.
Yeah.
But for me, mostly for the food. When I travel,
It's the food.
I eat. I try everything.
You try everything.
I try out everything. I'll get sick later, but I will
You
try
try
out
everything.
food.
Yeah, I think Morocco.
I think also like just the architectural space in Morocco is just so beautiful. So when I travel, I'm a foodie and I like immersing myself in the history of the place. Yeah. So definitely Morocco.
Oh, wow. Okay. What are you reading now?
I am currently reading The 5 a.m. Club
Ah, Robin Sharma.
And it's a challenge.
for me. It's a challenge for me because I am more of a night owl than an early bird. But I realize that the days that I wake up early, I get more stuff done. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Than when I wake up late and then sleep late. So I'm currently reading it. It's when you're reading something and the author is speaking to you and you're cringing, like, can you tone it down, please? Yeah, I think that's part of the refinement process, of it.
No, I love the 5 a.m. Club. I actually have it. I read it twice.
Yeah.
So mine is scribbled all over. I think you always learn something new when you read a book again.
Yeah.
You learn something new. Like I used to be like a night owl. I would sleep like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But now I'm trying, as I get older, to try and have 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I struggle. I know sometimes people wake up and I've sent them messages at 3 a.m. and they're like, "What the hell, woman? Can you go to bed?" But I'm trying. It's a struggle.
Yeah, it is.
It's really a struggle. So, and I've noticed, like you were saying, that if I sleep at 10, and I'm up at like 4:35,
Yeah.
I should get a lot more
A lot's done.
than then sleeping at 3 a.m.
And then
And then I wake up at like 6, 7, and I'm like
so many things to
frantic,
do.
and you know,
Like, you wake up panicking.
bags and everything. So yeah, it's something I'm trying to learn as well. So yeah, it's really got good lessons, you know, the 5 FM Club. So just to close us off, I know you told us about your life lessons, but I want you to close us off on a note of, when I look back, this is what I've learned, and going forward, this is how I'm going to apply it in my life.
Okay. I think for me, what I want to close off by sharing is start with what you have. Start with where you're at. Because one of the biggest things, if I look back now, I was always so hesitant, the perfectionist. You want to have your ducks lined up before you start. But the more you wait, the more you're delaying. And time passes by. Time waits for no one. Yeah. So I've come to realize, like, you know what? If I had started earlier, if I'd just gone for it without overthinking stuff, I probably would have been in a better space now. So that's my key point. Like, start with what you have, start where you're at, put in the work, keep your head down, and everything will work out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Chrystal, thank you very much. We need to have another conversation when we talk about the Chrystal part. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for just being here and just being such a young, inspiring young woman. I wish you nothing but the best with everything that you're doing. And thank you to our viewers. Thank you so much for watching. Please do go and subscribe to our channel, and look forward to seeing you next time. Good afternoon. Hi everyone, you've been watching Moments with Nyengeterai. Please remember to subscribe and to turn on your notifications, and to just follow me on all my social media platforms. Thank you.